Hey everybody, welcome to another Good e-Reader review video. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Today we're going to show you the top 5 comic reading apps for your Blackberry Z10. As you can see, we have quite a number of them here, and none of which are available through Blackberry World, which is Blackberry's official app store. It's only available through apps.goodereader.com. Now, this requires you to sideload apps in, and in this YouTube description, we'll provide a link that will give you access to the software, all of our other video tutorials on how to sideload apps in, and you can go from there. So comiXology, Manga Reader 2, DC Comics, Marvel Comics, and Manga. All of these cover a wide spectrum of content, everything from superheroes to Star Wars to traditional manga and graphic novels. So we're going to start first at our favorite app, which is probably #1 on the list, which is comiXology. Now, comiXology harvests content both from Marvel, DC, but you can also get stuff from Archie and G.I. Joe and a ton of other content. So this is the main screen here. You can see this is the featured content. Get everything from The Walking Dead to a lot of other stuff. So most people end up going with comiXology just because instead of having to download the independent Marvel app, the DC app, all that other stuff, you can just get comiXology. And this is the reason why I like the service. So we've already logged into it, and we've already downloaded a comic. And we'll just click on it to give you a sense of how the comics experience looks on the Z10.
See, it's quite clear. Although it is not from Blackberry World, it is formatted properly. You can tell from top to bottom. You can double click on panels. A little bit laggy when you go from landscape oriented panels to, say, horizontally. A little bit of a lag, but not enough to really take you out of the experience. Pinching and zooming can be utilized to really hone in on smaller parts. And everything, like I said, is nice and formatted. You're not seeing too many problems here. Page turns are very fluid when you're not in panel view. Colors are good. Colors are crisp. Overall, really good experience.
Yeah. Also here you could see some of the settings that you have here. Letterboxing, animate transitions, continue. And then to get out of the settings menu, you have to swipe down and then you can click back. Okay, so of course this is comiXology, and it takes roughly about a minute and a half to download any comic that you've purchased through the iOS version, Android version, or via the web. The next app that we'll look at is Marvel Comics. Now, we're looking at Marvel primarily because this is one of the largest franchises sort of out there. So this is the main sort of interface, very much akin to the comiXology, except this is just geared towards Marvel properties. So if you want to get a sense of what was just added, you can say, click on here, get a description, when it was originally released, how many pages, starred ratings, and then you can look at the individual comics within this series. If you want to read your comics, you can click on downloads, and then look at a comic that we've downloaded. So same thing, by default it's guided, but you can turn this off. As you can see, the guided view is a bit weak, but once you start getting to like full screen, it's alright. I mean, great colors.
And once again, this app formatted properly for this device.
Yeah, which is cool because it's not a native version. It's pretty well just the side-loaded version from Android. And of course, you can pinch and zoom too you know, isolate specific text, specific frames. This app will work perfectly in landscape mode and horizontal. I would probably say if you're using this guided view, you can see that most of the frames are pretty well suited to be in landscape mode and not in portrait mode. It's like only the odd frame. And again, it's pretty easy to like turn this sort of stuff off. You can see we have animations, all this type of stuff here. I'll just play around with some settings. And now you kind of have that full screen view. I prefer to read full screen instead of using the guided view. I find that, you know, I like looking at the art. I don't like looking at like particular frames and things like that, but it's all a matter of preference, of course. With the guided view, it's easy to read the text here. You kind of have to, you know, what are they saying? Kind of look here, but it gives you a chance to appreciate like the art a little bit more. But again, it's just like personal preference. So this is the Marvel app, and again, you can get this through apps.goodyreader.com. The next one that we'll look at is DC Comics. Now, this is more like the Marvel version, but it's just focused on DC. So you can see that the interface between comiXology, Marvel, and this is pretty good. All of the apps, again, work perfectly on the BB10. Some small lag here and there, but the experience is the same type of experiences that you would see like on a native Android device or iOS device.
So you can definitely see a lot of similarities between the three apps we've just showed.
But you can see that the comics, especially the more modern day comics, really look great. I mean, on camera, this is looking really good. So hopefully on YouTube, this is also looking very good. But you can see that the art styles between, say, you know, X-Men to G.I. Joe to DC, it really changes. But you can see the blues, the reds, they all pop. Okay, so we've looked at a lot of comic book apps. Well, if you're not into comic books, a large segment of the population is into manga. So we've included two great manga apps here. Manga Reader 2 seems to be the most popular one on Goody Reader, so let's take a look at that first. So this is the main sort of interface. You can choose what website that you want to go to and what series that you want to get. You can see that there's really no shortage of manga here. Lucky 13. So I noticed, Pete, that you're turning pages differently than you did the comic books.
Right. Manga is traditionally in right to left, so you would read from the top right to the bottom left rather than the top left to the bottom right. So you are actually swiping backwards.
Bit of a lag every time you turn a page.
Yeah, it seems that way. So you can see here that we just clicked on something and right away we just kind of dive into it. Pinching and zooming, a little bit of a problem when you gotta be patient with it. Remember, these aren't available on Blackberry World, so you can see they're a little bit finicky.
Okay, so with traditional, I mean, this is all black and white. Is all manga or manga?
Majority of manga are black and white. Few are actually in color, yes.
Okay, so with this service, you don't have to just get manga in English, but there's also a lot of other languages supported too. We were seeing things in Italian and French and Japanese and stuff like that. You can kind of see, you know, Russian, Germany, Spanish, And then you can deal with major services here like Manga Fox, Manga Reader, and stuff like that. So all of this is free, which is cool because the app itself is free, and then you could also read a ton of manga for free as well. You do see this little persistent ad here, but if you can get past that, it's definitely a pretty solid app.
And it's free, so...
Yeah. Actually... That's pretty awesome right there.
404.
Yeah, that would be good for like a website to have that there. Alright, so we looked at that. Now the last manga app that we're going to look at is very akin to Manga Reader 2, except it's presented in a bit of a different way. So you can see that it has different sites on the previous screen that we were looking at. So the other one was more specialized towards foreign languages. This one is just like a sheer amount of big name services. So people might like this because you can filter a little bit more properly. Comedy, action, adventure, the most popular manga that's currently available through the service. So this is kind of cool in terms of the sheer number of services it taps into and the sort of refined searching view. But as you can see that some of them have received, you know, DMCA notices and things like that, so...
The risk you run sometimes.
Yeah.
We'll try to find one here that we can get into. So we'll just click on a volume, start reading. And let's go back because we don't need to really look at the tutorial. And you can see
it's downloading, yeah. And you can see that the art on this one is looking a lot better, and especially like the cover art than the other one that we were looking at, which was like very basic, like hand drawn.
Right.
So yeah, it seems like this app itself takes a while to like download the pages, but let's just take a look at the functionality. Being able to pinch and zoom. You can just tap to turn to pages, which is cool. Instead of like swiping, takes a little bit longer to turn a page. Whereas like if you just tap the page, it tends to like upload, to download or to churn very fast.
You can see that you do run into a lot of download messages at the bottom if you go too fast. It says downloading page 12 and so forth. So
yeah, because I guess in this is like you're reading in the cloud basically off of the service. So you're not really making purchases and downloading them to the device like you were with comiXology and Marvel and stuff like that. This is just, you're just purely reading it online, which with manga, it's a cool kind of niche thing because you could really discover a lot of content really quickly. And of course there's mainstream services like Bleach that we noticed and Naruto and things like that too. So there's a lot of big name properties, you know, through these services here. So out of all the different ones that we looked at, Pete, what are your favorites? What would you say is like the top one?
Honestly, when we do our reviews, comiXology is kind of our go-to. I would say it just does everything the best overall. It's a good mix of everything. Like you said, you're not reading anything off of the internet per se. You're downloading it onto your device. It's got a good selection. It's personally my favorite one out of all of them. It's hard to really compare comiXology to Manga and Manga Reader 2 and all that.
Because it's just totally different.
Yeah, they're just different things. I mean, for manga, sure, I would choose, I suppose, either one would do fairly well. But overall, just all said and done, I would say comiXology would be my favorite one.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty well the go-to service. It has everything from all the other ones that we looked at, DC, Marvel, Archie, G.I. Joe, a ton of other properties. And one of the great things about comiXology is that you can delete the comics off your device, but they're still stored in the cloud. And I have an iPad, and it's pretty easy to make purchases on my iPad and then just download everything right to my Blackberry. So we hope you liked this video. Please comment. Let us know if we've missed any of your favorite comic book readers. There's a few that didn't work for the Z10 that we wanted to try, like it's Dark Horse. It wouldn't actually, the app worked, but it wouldn't actually let you download comics to the unit, but it does work on the Playbook. So stay tuned for our Playbook review on the best comic reading apps. For GoodyReader.com, my name is Michael.
My name is Peter.
Everybody take care.